And Phil, you know, I know the last time we spoke to each other, you were wearing the Star of David out and proud. You're defiant. A lot of other Jewish people are saying, well, look, we don't dare we don't dare have our kids walk in the streets in their school uniforms for a Jewish school. This is unprecedented in this country, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it is unprecedented. It is a massive concern because when levels of intolerance reach the stages where parents and schools are worried about kids being identified in their school uniforms or by using school bags with their symbols on them, then I think we need to take a good hard look at exactly where we're at as a community and a society. But also, as Michael said, the idea of policing fundamentally needs to be reviewed very, very quickly.
Now, I've been warning Jewish communities for 30 years now in speeches to various groups. So the next big threat would not come from the right, but from the left, and to be blunt, from some in the fast-growing Muslim community. So I was stunned today to see that High Court Judge Jane Jago still doesn't get it. She gave a Sir Zelman Cowen lecture 2 days before the Hamas attack on Israel, warning, yes, of more anti-Semitism, she got that right, but repeatedly blamed white supremacists, well, like neo-Nazis. She only mentioned the left progressive, she called them, once in passing, and only once mentioned Muslims, but only as the victims of prejudice, not as the perpetrators of it. Michael Danby, what is this blindness on the left to the anti-Semitism of the left?
Well, our esteemed judge has the excuse that her speech was given before the depravity of Hamas was exhibited on the 7th of October. But even then, serious people from all the security services all around the world know that a lot of this crazed jihadist anti-Jewish violence is coming from that extreme Middle Eastern element. Now, there are many good Muslim people in Australia, and we shouldn't denigrate them, but we should act very hardly in Australia's interests against the extremists. And it's up to judges to frame that kind of understanding in the public, as well as magistrates and the police and political leaders.
Look, I'll give you an example of this hostility to Israel, Phil, from the Greens, for instance. Now, that is a party of the left. 2 days ago, Israel bombed a Hamas base in northern Gaza. It killed the top Hamas commander, and Israel says dozens of his terrorists were killed as well. This base was in what Hamas still calls a refugee camp. It, in fact, is more like a suburb now of Gaza, people not living in tents but high-rise buildings. Here's how one Green Senator, David Shoebridge, today framed that attack.
These have been very clear intentional acts from the IDF. We saw in just the last few short days the intentional targeting of a refugee camp where civilians, the majority women and children, were killed in order for the IDF to kill one identified target.
So saying the majority were women and children killed, he was saying one terrorist, the IDF went after one terrorist and killed 200 civilians. I don't know where he gets his figures from. I suppose it's Hamas. Your response to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's arrant nonsense coming from Senator Shoebridge. He should really know better. People in public office have a responsibility when they speak openly to the public to actually speak in facts. And quoting figures from Hamas would be like me asking the inmates of a prison how they're being treated. It's just rubbish. And to make matters worse, Senator Shoebridge and his colleagues have been shown to have a bias when they are only interested in Arab Muslim deaths when there is a conflict with Israelis and Jews, as distinct from where is Senator Shoebridge's comments about the nearly 500,000 deaths in Yemen or the over 500,000 deaths in Syria. I mean, you know, it's one thing to hold Israel to account, and they should be held to account for what they do. But it's another thing to actually go after Israel for defending themselves against, as Michael said, a depraved opponent that has acted with barbarity. And also, again, just to remind people, they broke the ceasefire when they invaded Israel with 2,500 of their most senior fighters and their brigades back on the 7th of October.
Correct.